AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of the way she treated my daughter. I, 38F, have always had a complicated relationship with my sister, Amanda, 35F. We grew up close but drifted apart over the years due to differing personalities and priorities. Amanda is very particular, controlling, and a bit of a perfectionist, while I am more laid back and prioritize my family's happiness over everything else. Our relationship was manageable until recently, but the events leading up to her wedding have completely shattered any chance of reconciliation, and now I'm being told I'm the villain. My daughter, Sophie, is 8 years old. She's a kind, sensitive, and somewhat shy kid who struggles with anxiety and sensory issues. We've worked hard to create a supportive environment for her, and she's doing well in therapy. Sophie loves her Aunt Amanda, despite Amanda often being dismissive or cold towards her. But Amanda's fiancé and their families have been openly uncomfortable around Sophie for years. Amanda got engaged last year and invited me and Sophie to the wedding immediately. At first, I was excited. Amanda never had children and often told me she wanted to be like a second mom to Sophie. But soon after, I started noticing subtle but hurtful things. Amanda would make passive-aggressive comments about how Sophie was too loud or always needing attention, and she would repeatedly question my parenting choices in front of Sophie. At one point, Amanda told me that Sophie was too much work and implied that Sophie's therapy was a waste of time. The biggest issue arose when Amanda asked me if Sophie could be quiet and well-behaved during the wedding and reception. I explained that Sophie would try her best, but given her anxiety and sensory sensitivities, there might be moments when she needed to step away or act out. Amanda seemed annoyed, but said she understood. Fast forward to the week before the wedding. Amanda calls me out of the blue to say that her fiancé's family doesn't want Sophie at the wedding because they think she'll ruin the atmosphere and make things difficult. She said it was a family event and that I should respect their wishes. I told her that Sophie is my child, and I would never exclude her just because some people found her inconvenient. Amanda then said that if Sophie came, she might have to exclude me as well to keep things peaceful. I was shocked and hurt. I reminded Amanda that this was supposed to be a day about family and love, not exclusion and judgment. I said I would only attend if Sophie was welcomed. Amanda hung up on me. Since then, the conversations have been tense and mostly hostile. Amanda sent me a formal invitation that explicitly said adults only and no children in the fine print. I called her to ask if Sophie was truly not invited, and she confirmed. I told her that I couldn't attend without my daughter, and she said that was fine, and I was making things difficult. My parents are caught in the middle, urging me to go for Amanda's sake, saying weddings are about compromise and keeping the peace. They say I should put aside the way Amanda treated Sophie and just go. My friends mostly support me, understanding the difficult position of a parent trying to protect their child from exclusion and hurt. Now, Amanda has publicly stated that I'm selfish for refusing to attend and that I'm playing the victim to get attention. Some of her social media followers have taken her side, calling me unreasonable and accusing me of forcing drama. I'm overwhelmed by the backlash and guilt tripped by family. I want to be clear, I'm not trying to sabotage Amanda's day or cause conflict. I love my sister and want to be part of her life, but I refuse to accept my daughter being treated like an unwanted guest by people who claim to be family. Sophie deserves to feel safe and included, not shunned because of her needs. So, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she excluded my daughter and treated her poorly? Or should I just bite the bullet for the sake of family and go without Sophie? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to move out of the house I co-own with my late fiancé's brother, even though his new girlfriend is uncomfortable living with me. I, 29F, was engaged to my fiancé Ethan, who passed away 3 years ago in a car accident. It was devastating. We had just bought a small house together a few months before it happened, and after he died, I couldn't bring myself to leave it. It felt like the last physical connection I had to him. Here's where things get complicated. Ethan's younger brother, Adam, 31M, was incredibly supportive after the accident. He helped me sort through Ethan's things, took care of practical stuff I couldn't face, and we grew really close. About 6 months after the funeral, we realized we couldn't afford to maintain the house on my single income. Ethan and Adam's parents had contributed some money toward the down payment, so they suggested that Adam move in and help with expenses. It made sense. He was family, and we were both grieving. He moved in, and for the first year, we lived more like roommates who shared silent grief. Slowly, things got easier. We found a rhythm. We split bills, fixed the place up, planted a garden. Over time, the arrangement became comfortable, even almost normal. Then, about 1.5 years ago, Adam started dating someone, Emily, 28F. She seemed nice at first. She came over often, was friendly, and didn't seem bothered by the situation. But once their relationship became serious, things shifted. Emily told Adam that it made her uncomfortable that he lived with his dead brother's fiancée. She said it was weird and emotionally unhealthy for both of us. I understood where she was coming from, but I also felt defensive. The house was mine too. Ethan and I had both put our names on the mortgage, and when he died, his half legally passed to me. I offered Adam the chance to buy into ownership a couple of years ago, since he had been helping with the mortgage, and we signed an agreement that gave him a 30% ownership stake. It's as much his home as it is mine now. Still, Emily pushed for me to move out so she could move in. I told Adam that I wasn't planning to leave the house. He seemed torn and said he'd try to figure something out. Months went by with tension building. Emily started avoiding me, and Adam stopped hanging out in shared spaces when she was over. I mostly stayed in my room or spent evenings out to avoid awkwardness. Recently, things came to a head. Adam told me that Emily had given him an ultimatum. Either I move out or she won't move in and might even break up with him. He told me he loves her and wants to build a future with her, and he asked if I would consider moving somewhere else for his happiness. I reminded him that I owned the majority of the house. I said I wasn't ready to leave the place where I'd built years of memories, not just with Ethan, but with him too. I also can't afford to buy something comparable on my own. I told him I'm open to selling someday, if we both agree, but not under pressure like this. He got upset and said I was being selfish and stuck in the past. He said Ethan wouldn't have wanted me to cling to the house forever. That one stung. I told him I'm not clinging, I'm living. I've dated casually, I work full-time, I have friends. But this house is my home. I'm not going to uproot my life because his girlfriend feels uncomfortable about my existence. Things escalated. Emily texted me directly, saying that I was standing in the way of Adam's healing, and that no woman wants to build a family in another woman's house, especially when that woman was engaged to her boyfriend's dead brother. She said I was being cruel and manipulative by holding on to Adam emotionally through the house. That message really shook me. I've never seen Adam that way. He's family to me. The idea that someone sees our bond as something twisted made me feel sick. But I also can't help wondering if she's right. If maybe the whole situation is strange and I'm blinded by grief or comfort. Adam hasn't spoken much to me since. We communicate about bills and basic house stuff, but it's cold and awkward. He spends most nights at Emily's now. I know he's trying to keep everyone happy, but the silence hurts. My friends are divided. Some say I have every right to stay. It's legally and emotionally my home, and Emily is the one being unreasonable. Others think I should move on and let Adam have his life, that it's unhealthy to keep living in my dead fiancé's house with his brother, and that maybe I've held on to this place as a substitute for moving forward. The truth is, I don't know what's right anymore. Part of me feels stubborn about it, because it's one of the only things I have left from that chapter of my life. Another part of me wonders if I've unintentionally trapped both Adam and myself in the past. I've even thought about offering to sell my share to him at a fair market price, so he and Emily can have the house. But that feels like giving up the last piece of Ethan I still have. And realistically, Adam probably can't afford to buy me out anyway. So here I am, stuck between grief, guilt, and frustration. I don't want to be the villain in someone else's love story, but I also don't want to be erased from my own. AITA for refusing to move out of the house I co-own with my late fiance's brother, even though his girlfriend feels uncomfortable living with me. AITA for refusing to attend my brother's wedding after finding out how they treated my wife behind my back. I, 33M, have been married to my wife, Clara, 31F, for 4 years, and we've been together for 7. Clara is one of those genuinely kind people who tries to keep the peace even when she's hurt. My family is not like that. I love them, but they can be exhausting. My parents are extremely traditional, and my older brother, Matt, 35M, tends to go along with whatever they say. Matt is marrying Emily, 29F, next month. Now, I'll admit up front that my family didn't like Clara from start. She's from a working-class background, and my parents have money. My dad made his fortune in real estate, and both he and my mom have always had this quiet superiority about them. Clara works as a nurse, and I'm in IT, so while we're not poor, we're not rolling in cash either. When I first introduced her, my mom said, "She's sweet," in that tone that means the opposite. Over the years, I've kept the peace by limiting how often we see my family. Clara always comes to holidays and birthdays, but she mostly stays quiet while my mom makes her little comments, like joking that she must have trapped me with her cooking, or that maybe someday she'll go back to school for a more fitting job. Clara just smiles and moves on. Anyway, a few months ago, we got the invite to Matt's wedding. I was supposed to be a groomsman, and Clara was thrilled because she thought this might be a chance to finally feel included. She even helped Emily pick out some small details for the bridal shower when asked. Then things started getting weird. Clara noticed she wasn't invited to the bridal shower itself. Emily told her there wasn't enough space, but when photos went up online, there were like 30 women there, including distant cousins. Clara brushed it off and said maybe it was just a numbers thing. A few weeks later, Matt texted me asking for our meal preferences. I mentioned Clara's dietary restrictions. She's allergic to shellfish. And he said, "Oh yeah, we can note that for you," which was odd wording. I said, "You mean for us?" And he replied, right, for both of you." Fast forward to about a month ago. Clara went shopping for a dress, and while she was at the store, she ran into one of Emily's friends. This friend apparently didn't realize Clara hadn't been told something, because she said, "So sorry about the whole dinner thing. That's so awkward." Clara was confused, and the woman immediately looked uncomfortable and said she had to go. Clara came home and told me, and I decided to call Matt. He dodged my calls for 2 days, and when he finally picked up, he sounded annoyed. I asked him what this dinner thing was about. He sighed and said, "Look, don't freak out, but Emily thought it might be better if Clara skipped the reception dinner. She can still come for the ceremony and photos, but the dinner's more of a close family vibe." I asked him what the hell that meant, since Clara is my wife. He said Emily just didn't feel a strong connection with her and thought she might feel out of place. I told him that was incredibly insulting, and he said, "Don't make it a big deal, man. It's one night. Clara can hang out with the other plus ones afterward." That was the point where I lost my patience. I told him if Clara wasn't welcome at every part of the wedding, then neither was I. He said I was being dramatic and selfish, that this was his day and I was making it about myself. I hung up before I said something worse. Later that night, my mom called. She said she'd heard what happened and that I was embarrassing the family. Apparently, Emily told her that Clara talks too much about her job and doesn't fit in with the aesthetic of the wedding, whatever that means. My mom actually agreed and said, "Maybe it's best if Clara sits this one out, honey. You can still come and support your brother." I told her she could tell Matt and Emily to have a nice wedding without me. Then I blocked the family group chat for a while because the texts were endless. Everything from "you're ruining Matt's big day" to "don't let your wife manipulate you." The fallout has been ridiculous. Matt told everyone I'm refusing to attend out of spite. Emily posted some passive-aggressive quote on Instagram about people showing their true colors. My dad called me last week and said he'd never been more disappointed. Clara feels awful, even though she did absolutely nothing wrong. She even suggested I just go alone, but I refused. I told her, I'm not going to celebrate people who think so little of her. Now the wedding is 2 weeks away, and the tension hasn't died down. My parents have threatened to cut me out of some inheritance thing if I don't show up, which honestly just confirms how transactional everything is with them. A couple of cousins reached out privately and said they think Matt and Emily are being snobs, but they're still going because they don't want drama. I'm torn because part of me wonders if I should have just sucked it up for one day, gone to support my brother, and ignored their behavior. But the other part of me feels like if I keep letting them disrespect Clara, it'll never stop. I don't want her to think I'll just sit by while they humiliate her. Clara keeps saying she doesn't want to be the reason for a family war, but she also admits she doesn't want me to go without her. She's been trying to stay strong, but I know this whole thing has crushed her. So now I'm sitting here thinking about all the history with my family. Every snide comment, every time I let it slide because it was easier than fighting. And I'm realizing this might be the hill I have to stand on. But still, I can't shake the guilt. This is my brother's wedding. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and part of me worries that by not going, I'll regret it down the line. At the same time, how do I show up to a celebration that openly excludes my wife? So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my brother's wedding after finding out they didn't want my wife at the reception?